Hey guys, everybody's talking about this story. This young lady who went on vacation in Mexico and ended up dying. So let's talk about it. So some of her friends were saying that the energy was so cold in the room when she walked into the room. She didn't know what she was walking into. She was walking into a death sentence. So the Mexican Police Department has arrested a couple of people concerning this young lady's death. A lot of news outlets as well as social media are reporting on this story, but according to the New York Post, a new video has emerged of the North Carolina woman, Shanquella, shortly before her mysterious death at the Mexican resort. And it shows her playfully joking with her friends. So the short clip was posted on Instagram where the users share their thoughts about the woman's demise. So one person posted on Instagram that they probably had a problem with her but didn't want to tell her anything. So the above video clearly shows someone entering the room, a young woman, pulverizing Shanquella. And I'm not sure if there were two people involved or the one young woman, but she runs out the room, comes back. Shanquella is standing at this point and she is beating on her again for a second round. But clearly there are more people in the room. I'm not sure if they were taking turns beating her. But she was on the ground at this point, unable to stand. Very disturbing video, folks, to know that you can go on vacation. This young woman going on vacation for her birthday, celebrating with these so-called friends, and getting beat viciously to the point where the beating caused her neck to break. So apparently they all had planned on getting naked and going to swim because she was looking for them. She says, "Where y'all at? It doesn't take that long to get naked." And we see this young woman in the above picture running in the room and beating her up. So some people are saying she was set up to get naked and then she would be jumped and beaten up. But the way the New York Post reported it is that they were playfully joking around. But ain't no joke when somebody's, heavy blows to the head. Left, right, blows upon blows to the head, and then ran out the room. I don't call that joking around. I call that a sucker punch, and she was caught off guard. Everybody else had their clothes on. She was the only one naked. That tells me, my detective radar tells me they set her up. So not everybody you consider a friend is really a friend. Some of these people are very jealous of you. Some of the people you consider friends are very jealous, and they will set you up in a very compromising situation to be beaten, to be raped, to be killed, to be stabbed, etc. So you really have to be careful of who you call a friend. So her funeral was on the 19th, and it was such a senseless killing. But let's examine what happened in Mexico. Why was this young woman killed? So on Saturday, Shanquella's father, Bernard Robinson, told TMZ that he believed that the attack on her was a setup because he said he knows his daughter, and his daughter was not the type of person to get involved in any fights. And clearly, by the video that is out, the person ran into the room and threw blows to her head, and she was defenseless. And then the person ran right back out of the room. She was shielding herself from the blows. She did not fight back, but she was shielding herself. So the father is grief-stricken, and he said for all of them to be in that room. And she is naked, and they make it seem as though she had just woken up, when the video shows that someone actually attacked her. So the FBI told WBTV on Friday that it has opened an investigation in the death of the Charlotte resident, North Carolina. So they have opened up an investigation concerning her death on or about October the 29th, 2022. So on Saturday, the funeral services were held for Shanquella at the Macedonia Baptist Church in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is what the New York Post reported. So Tamika Mallory, an activist, was at the funeral, and she said she came to make sure, wanted the family to know that they're going to put enough pressure on officials to get justice for their daughter. The state attorney general's office stated last week that an investigation was initiated for femicide, a hate crime in which women are killed due to their gender. So as the story goes, Shanquella Robinson traveled to the resort with a group of friends on October the 28th, and she was found dead the following day, which was the 29th. So at first, her friends said she died from alcohol poisoning, but a homicide probe was launched, and after an autopsy was done, it was found that she suffered severe spinal cord injury, which is called an atlas luxation, which is an instability of the first two neck vertebrae. So essentially, they broke her neck, according to the New York Post. So the Mexican authority had initially stated it was alcohol poisoning because that's what the friends told them. But when they saw the video, the new release of this video footage where she was being beaten, along with the autopsy report, then they had to walk back that statement. Shanquella, who was 25 years old, sounded very upbeat in the video clip. And according to Radar Online, the video was shot at the luxury beach club resort in San Jose del Cabo. So the video shows Robinson saying, "It doesn't take that long to get naked. Where are you all at?" Robinson yells lightheartedly as she walks into the room, and the group started to discuss what bathing suit outfits to wear. Some people who knew her said she had a heart of gold, and the family is demanding justice. So contrary to the initial report by the friends, who said that she died from alcohol poisoning, Robinson's parents said, no, she didn't die from alcohol poisoning. Her neck was broken. So reports out from Mexico stated that each one of the people that they interviewed who were there concerning her death had all different stories. So Shanquella's boyfriend arrived a day after her, and he said when he got there, he was told by the friends that she was sick and she had alcohol poisoning. He said he didn't know it was a fight because nobody told him that she was in a fight. So the boyfriend also said, according to the Post, that since the footage showed her being beaten by this woman, those who wanted to speak out and those who tried to speak out were threatened, and they were receiving death threats, according to him. So on Friday, November the 11th, her parents, Bernard and Salamandra Robinson, told a local newspaper that while Shanquella was on the trip, they received a phone call. They received a phone call from their daughter's friends saying that Shanquella had passed away from alcohol poisoning. And several days later, Salamandra learned through an autopsy report that Shanquella actually died from a broken neck. So the boyfriend remembers getting off the plane around 2:16 p.m. and he made a phone call to the group members, her friends, and they had informed him that she wasn't doing well. She was showing signs of alcohol poisoning, he said. So he rushed to the villa. He got the address and rushed there. And he said around 3:26 p.m., after obtaining the address from one of the friends, he rushed to her side and he remained with her until a nurse came. Now that's according to Radar Online. So the boyfriend claimed that he was unaware of any fight. Nobody told him about a fight. He thought it was going to be a great vacation in Mexico to continue her birthday celebration before this terrible news came. But so far we know that she was celebrating her 25th birthday with friends in Mexico. There was a fight and her neck was broken. The friends lied and said it was alcohol toxicity. The autopsy report found that she had a broken neck. And there is a video footage of a young lady running into the room and throwing blows to her head. And she was fending off the blows, not fighting back. I noticed a wig was thrown in the air, but there are people to the left and people to the right, and I'm not sure if they also threw blows. So clearly, this appears to be a setup in which they're all spectators. One person is throwing the blows. I'm not sure if another person also assisted in throwing blows. I guess with friends like those, you don't need enemies. And the male friend who arrived the day after said that he put out the video to clear his name because people put out the address and the names of the people who was on vacation with Shanquella, and those people are now receiving death threats. And he did not want to suffer the same fate. He wanted to clear his name. Therefore, he put out a video stating that he did not get there until the day after, until the fight was over and the damage was done. So the Mexican police have arrested the friends. They are sitting in jail. I'm not sure how many friends were arrested, but in my opinion, all of them should have been arrested for the murder of Shanquella. So at this point, I'd like to send my condolences to her parents and the entire family for their loss of this young girl. So law enforcement put out a statement that the case is fully clarified and that they have a court order. They further stated that there is an arrest warrant issued for the crime of femicide against the person who perpetrated the crime. Authorities stated that it was not a quarrel. Shanquella did not get into an argument with this woman. She just was very aggressive, and we saw in the film footage where she was throwing unprovoked blows to Shanquella's head. Currently, the people who are her friends have been arrested by the Mexican authorities, but now the authorities here in the U.S. is asking for extradition for all of them to be brought here for a trial date. And this is the statement put out by the authorities. We are carrying out all the pertinent procedures such as Interpol alert and the request for extradition to the United States of America. It's about 2 Americans, the victim and the culprit. Shanquella's mother said on Wednesday, when she was told that there was an arrest issued for the crime against her daughter, she said, hearing the news for the first time, it was good to hear because that's what they have been waiting for someone to finally be held accountable and arrested. She further added that she could not wait for justice to be served. So as the FBI is investigating this case on this side of the world, in America, the Mexican authorities put out a statement that they believe that Shanquella was alive before the ambulance came to render service and render help. And I guess they were alluding to the fact that had these friends called and reported that she was in this state of unwellness, she could have gotten help earlier and possibly survived. So this is the statement they put out. The authorities in Mexico said on Tuesday night that Robinson may have been alive and received care from a medical professional for several hours before authorities arrived, and she was pronounced dead. So essentially, if someone had called for medical help, she could have gotten the help and possibly still be alive today. So it's also been reported by the New York Post that the medical professionals who arrived at the scene allegedly told Robinson's friends that Robinson was drunk, dehydrated, and she should be taken to the hospital. However, the friends declined to do so. This is all according to the authorities in Mexico, and the New York Post reported a story. So clearly, there are conflicting stories. The new report differs significantly from the original autopsy report obtained by ABC News, which said that the medical professionals arrived at Robinson's villa at 3 p.m. and she was declared dead within 15 minutes. The autopsy said that Robinson died from a severe spinal cord injury and dislocated neck. Shanquella's mother said she didn't believe the alcohol poisoning report. So, according to the police department in Mexico, Shaquila's friends requested a medical consultation at 2:13 p.m. and after a general practitioner from the American Medical Center arrived at the address in Puerto Los Cabos, Robinson's friend told the medical professional that she had drank a lot of alcohol. So, had they told the truth, she could have gotten the help that she needed. The medical professional would have said, well, maybe since she was hit over the head several times with blows, maybe she got a fractured neck, or maybe she's got some head injury, and they could have saved her in a timely manner. So by lying, her friends caused her to not get the help that she needed. So upon examining Robinson, the medical personnel said that they noticed that Robinson had a poor vertebral response, meaning she couldn't hold her head up. And she was what appears to be a state of drunkenness and was dehydrated, but had stable vital signs, according to the police report. So medical personnel that were there at the scene said they advised the friends to transfer her to the hospital, but the friends insisted that she stayed. I guess they didn't want it to be revealed that they had beaten her up. So according to police report obtained by the New York Post, at around 4:20 p.m., Robinson began seizing. Because when you have a head injury, most of the time you will seize because the brain is misfiring. So when she started to seize, one of the friends of Robinson called 911, and the friend's name is Donovan. Called 911, an emergency medical professional, EMS, arrived. The police report said that Robinson began having difficulty breathing and had a decreased pulse. All that time she was alive, they could have released her to the initial EMT that arrived. They could have released her, transferred her to the hospital, and she would have been saved. But they insisted that she stayed in the villa. And by her being there, she slowly died. By the time she was starting to seize, death was at the door. Death was calling at that point. And so at 4:49 p.m., the general practitioner said they stopped feeling Robinson's pulse and started CPR until paramedics arrived. And they continued with CPR 6 sessions and 5 doses of adrenaline without success. So they gave the CPR, they gave her adrenaline, and it was not successful. CPR is supposed to keep your heart beating, and they gave 14 CPR sessions. So by the time they started CPR to the time the ambulance arrived, it was 14 sessions of CPR, and 5 doses of adrenaline was given. And the adrenaline was given because it can increase the likelihood that the heart will regain a normal rhythm as more blood flow is directed towards the heart. So at that point, they weren't feeling a pulse, and they wanted to get that heart pumping, because if the heart is pumping, they would be able to feel a pulse. So they tried and tried without any success. But she was not revived. So at that time, Robinson went into an asystolic state. It's a type of cardiac arrest, according to the police report. And Robinson was declared deceased, dead, at 5:57 p.m. So about an hour after the ambulance got there, she was declared dead. And according to police report, the Mexican authorities were notified at around 5 p.m. local time of Robinson's condition. So now the Mexican Police Department is looking at this case as femicide, a form of gender bias violence. I'm not sure if all the friends were arrested, but in my opinion, all of them should have been arrested because they were in the room when the beating was occurring. But someone was arrested. I believe it was the woman who was beating her on camera. My condolences once again to the family.